welcome to the Park2Park podcast, where we compare theme park offerings from coast to coast. We don't always see eye to eye, but in the end, we try. I'm one of your hosts, CJ, and I'm here with my other host, Alli. Alli, how are you on this Monday evening?
Hi, CJ. I am doing great on this Monday evening. I am gearing up for my trip to Disneyland this week.
I'm so jealous.
I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun.
When was the last time you were there?
Pre-COVID. It was when Millennium Falcon was open, but before Rise of the Resistance was open.
So, like summer 2019?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Summer, fall 2019. Okay, so it's been a few years.
I think it was for your son's first birthday.
That sounds about right then.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, a lot has changed, and we'll talk about it when you get back.
Yeah. Excited.
Yeah.
We will have a trip report for that episode, but today we have a different trip report. Before we get into that, CJ, how are you?
I am well. You know, it's Monday. We're starting to get some of that summer weather here with the afternoon rain showers, so yay.
It's March.
I know, and it's weird because usually it's like not rainy in March, but apparently it's decided to do a summer thing.
Cool.
Yes. Okay, well, we are here to talk about your recent trip to Florida. You were here for like a week and a half, right?
Yes, something like that.
Yes, you stayed with mom and dad just down the street from us. And you did a lot of theme parks while you were here.
I did so many theme parks.
Yeah, which ones did you visit?
So we went to Islands of Adventure over at Universal Studios, Epcot, Universal Studios, Surprise Magic Kingdom, SeaWorld, and Planned Magic Kingdom.
Yes. So we're going to talk about them besides Universal, because I know Epcot was in between your two Universal days, but we'll talk about them in the order that you did everything. So we're going to start with Universal. I've still never been to Universal, only Universal Hollywood when I was 15, so I don't really know much about Universal Orlando. So first, tell me, who did you go with? What days did you visit? And what kind of tickets did you use?
So for the guests, it was myself and my husband. His name is Louis. So Alli and Louis went to Universal Studios. We used 1 day, one park per day. We went on a Friday and a Sunday of President's Day weekend.
It's a busy time to visit.
Yeah, but you know, it didn't end up being too bad in my opinion.
Okay. Now I know they have Express Pass. Did you guys use that at all?
We did not.
Okay. So what rides did you do?
Before I get into that, the reason we did not get Express Pass this time, I know last time I used it, the reason we did not get it this time was because we were doing 2 parks on 2 separate days. The last time I went, we did 2 parks in a single day, and we used Express Pass to be able to do everything that we wanted to in 1 day.
Now, question.
Yes?
Sorry, was it more expensive? Like, which option was more expensive? 2 parks in 1 day with Express Pass, or 1 park per day over 2 days with no Express Pass?
Or were they about the same? Recall.
Okay.
Because the other thing for me to consider, like, there's extra math involved with that, because for this, both tickets came out of a single pocketbook, versus for my other trip, it was 2 people paying for their tickets with different pocketbooks.
Okay, yeah. No worries. I was just curious. I can Google it.
Yeah, I did get the tickets at a slight discount through my work, but it was not like a huge discount. It was like $5 off per ticket.
Oh,
so.
Well, you know, there's an ice cream in the afternoon for $5.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, so tell me about the rides that you went
on. First day, we did Islands of Adventure. Our first ride was Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. I think that's the full name for it. It's an absurdly long name. Let me actually look it up.
Why do all the theme parks do this with these crazy long names? You know?
It is Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure.
That is a long name.
Yeah. Commonly referred to as just Hagrid's. I love that ride so much. I came off of that ride crying because I just love Harry Potter so much. This was in stark contrast to the kid we passed in the exit queue who was crying because the ride was too scary for him.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I don't think it's that scary of a ride. I think it's a lot of fun. Anyways, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure was our first ride. We then went to Velocicoaster. Then we had a lunch break, which I know you're going to ask about food later, so I'll just leave it at a lunch break for now. We went on the Spider-Man ride, which is a dark ride.
I didn't know they had a Spider-Man ride.
It's called The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man.
Oh, so like the name of the comic book, basically.
Yes, it is very much a comic book and animated series ride. So when you're in the queue, there's like clips from the animated Spider-Man series.
Okay, cool.
Our last ride at Islands of Adventure was the Incredible Hulk coaster.
Okay. Were there any that you skipped?
There were a lot that we skipped.
Okay.
More than we rode.
Okay. And like, I'm just curious, what were the reasons why you skipped so many rides?
We were there for thrilling, high-speed, and turbulent roller coaster type rides.
Okay.
So we skipped everything in Dr. Seuss Land, for instance, that is geared towards younger kids. We skipped the Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls, which is geared towards people who want to get wet. Okay. We also skipped Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. We've both been on that at Universal Hollywood. It is a very unique ride system where you have the seat, you're on a moving arm, and there's like a 3D screen in front of you. And I just didn't need that kind of nausea in my life.
Oh dear. Yeah, that sounds nauseating.
Yeah, it's honestly the kind of ride that I'm okay doing once in my life.
Okay. That tells me a lot.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't go on it.
Okay, fair.
Dad definitely should not go on it.
So out of those that you did do, what were your favorites and least favorites?
My top two were absolutely Hagrid's. I mean, you heard me say already that I was crying coming off of it because I just love Harry Potter so much. And Velocicoaster because that is just a really good roller coaster.
Cool. And was that your first time on either one of those?
No, I've been on both of those once before.
Okay. But for Louis, it was his first time, right?
Correct.
Okay. And what did he think of those? Like, what was his favorite?
He liked them both. I think he liked Velocicoaster better than Hagrid's, but he did like both of the rides. He enjoyed all of the rides that we went on, frankly.
Cool. So then your second day at Universal, you were at Universal Studios Park.
Yes.
And what rides did you go on there?
We started with Escape from Gringotts, moved on to Men in Black, then the E.T. ride, the Mummy ride, and Rip Ride Rocket.
Cool. And did you skip any rides there?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember which ones you skipped or no?
No.
Okay.
I'd have to look it up.
Okay, that's fine. And what were your favorite rides at that park? And did you have any least favorites?
Escape from Gringotts was really fun. We have established that I am a huge Harry Potter nerd, so I really liked the Harry Potterness of that ride. The Mummy was also really, really fun. I hadn't been on that one before. It was closed the last time I was there, and it is different from the one at Universal Hollywood.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Because I've been on the Universal Hollywood one, and I really enjoyed it.
You would enjoy the Mummy at Universal Studios as well.
Okay, cool.
It was so much fun. And then new to Louis was Escape from Gringotts and Rip Ride Rocket. He had been to Universal Studios before, like 15 years ago, something like that. Rip Ride Rocket was not open at that time, and he really liked that one too. Okay,
cool. So overall, how were the crowds and the wait times for all these rides?
Crowds were not
reminder, it was President's Day weekend. Yes,
it was President's Day weekend, and the crowds were not as bad as I expected them to be for a holiday weekend.
That's good.
For the most part, I took note of our posted wait times and how long we actually waited. There was only one ride where we waited longer than the posted wait time. Everything else was way lower or exactly on the dot.
Do you get the feeling that they were overestimating wait times for similar reasons that Disney does?
Well, let me put it this way. The Mummy was posted at 80 minutes. We got in the line and we were off the ride 30 minutes later.
That is really bizarre.
Yeah.
I wonder what's going on with that. How long was your longest wait?
Our longest wait
I'm going to guess Velocicoaster.
You are incorrect. It was Hagrid's.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Velocicoaster was our second longest wait.
Okay.
Hagrid's, when we got in line, it was posted at 150 minutes, so 2.5 hours, and we waited just under 2 hours for that.
Oof, that's a long wait.
That ride is always a long wait. Velocicoaster was posted at 70, and that's the only one that we actually waited longer than the wait time. So we got in line at 11:15, and we were off the ride at 12:40. So it posted at an hour 10, and it was more like an hour and a half.
Okay, gotcha. Where did you guys eat? And did you do breakfast, lunch, dinner? What meals did you do there? And any snacks too?
We did lunches both days. So our first day we did lunch at Thunder Falls, which they had a really great system. You could not get a table until you had placed your order.
Oh, so I like that.
It was actually really, really nice. So you got in line. We also timed it perfectly because when we were sitting down, the line was out the door. But when we got in line, there were 5 groups in front of us.
Oh, cool.
So incredible timing there for our lunch. I got a rotisserie chicken salad, and Louis got the pernil pork, which I am probably pronouncing that wrong. He enjoyed it. My chicken was dry, but that was kind of to be expected. It's theme park food and nothing that can be solved by smothering it in ranch dressing. Yeah. But basically, you order. They tell you, go sit at this table, and then someone brings you their food.
Oh, that reminds me of Be Our Guest for lunch, where, you couldn't go in unless you had a reservation and you ordered in advance, or you could order right there, and then you sat down. You couldn't just camp out at the tables. And I wish more restaurants did that, but, it is what it is.
What was nice was that there were team members who were actively saying, hey, you need to place, you cannot sit here. This table is reserved for somebody. You need to place your order and then you will be given a table. So they were actively stopping people from taking a table.
Nice. Yeah. And then where did you eat on your second day?
The second day, we left the park at about 1:15. So we ended up eating lunch in City Walk at a little place called Bread Box. They were out of the sandwich that I wanted, so I ended up with a BLTA. And I forget what Louis ordered. I think it was like pulled pork or something. It was probably pork. He likes meat. So
Okay. I have a question for you about restaurants at Universal and in general. Food and planning where to eat is a really big part of a Disney visit. Mm-hmm. Is it kind of the same story at Universal, or is it not as big a deal over there?
Not as big a deal. There is one restaurant that is a big deal, and that is Mythos. It is like really highly rated, and the food is incredible. Allegedly, I haven't been there.
Is it like what restaurant is a good comparison in the Disney universe?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Okay, because I haven't really heard anyone talk about it. I hear people talk about the three broomsticks, I think it's called.
Yeah, there's you can eat at the Leaky Cauldron.
Yeah.
That could be it. Mythos is sit down, it's full service, it's award winning, and it's really highly rated, and I don't know what award it was given, but it's won awards. So
okay. All right. Well, I'll keep that in mind for one day when I visit. Okay, so tell me one thing you think Universal is doing right that Disney can adopt or should adopt.
More Harry Potter IP? I know, that doesn't really count.
No. Man, you really don't have an answer.
I think something that this is just based on some of the things that you and I have talked about and some of the things that I felt when we were in the Walt Disney World parks on this trip. The immersion within the land that you're in is thorough.
At Universal?
Yes.
Really?
So you cannot see Diagon Alley until you are inside Diagon Alley. So there's a wall with gaps in it that you zigzag through. So
Okay,
when you're
I've seen
looking
pictures
straight
of
on
that.
it, you see
Yeah.
more wall.
Yeah.
When you're outside of it, you're in London,
Yeah.
which is amazing. But
Okay.
you cannot see the other lands when you're in Diagon Alley. You cannot see the other lands when you're in the area that ET is in, which granted is under huge construction. That's walls all the way to the ET ride. For the most part, the transitions between lands are really, really smooth. I'd say smoother than they are at Disney. I wish Universal had a central hub, because it's kind of like, okay, you're walking in circles. They're kind of, there's a lake smack in the middle of the park, and it's kind of weird.
Right.
The weird transition was from Dr. Seuss Land to the Lost Continents, which is like going from all these like bright colors and cartoons to the Lost Island of Atlantis, basically.
Yeah, I feel like there probably isn't a good transition from Dr. Seuss to anywhere, because Dr. Seuss is so out there, you know? Like,
I would say Dr. Seuss to the comic book land where the Spider-Man ride is, that would work better. But yeah, it's just really, really jarring to go from all these bright colors to like brown stone, Sirius pyramid.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So what's something Disney's doing well that Universal could adopt?
This isn't really fair to Universal, but mobile order wasn't working the day that we were there, so we couldn't place the order for Breadbox. I was trying, and I was like, why isn't it working? Because the line was out the door for Breadbox, and we're just like, I just want a sandwich and a nice tall glass of water. Couldn't mobile order. But that's not really fair to Universal, because that was just a one-time thing.
Okay. Well, no, I think that's a fair criticism, though, because I feel like, you know, when Disney has problems, it's always like little glitches here and there. There's very rarely like this one feature is broken for everybody. You know, it's like, it's little things that don't work that make it annoying. But like, has there ever been a day when mobile order has just been down? Like, I can't think of that for Disney.
There was no notice of it on the app either. I was like, cycling through 3 different pages that were like, go to this page to like learn more about mobile ordering, and it's like, go to mobile order, go here, and then it's like there was like it was the same 3 pages that were all linking to each other too. So annoying.
No. Yeah, see, and when something goes down at Disney, they send push notifications sometimes. Like they'll say, sorry for the inconvenience, Pirates is closed or something like that. Like I've gotten push notifications for that. So I feel like maybe technology-wise, Disney does a decent job of updating you what's going on if there's a big problem. So I think that's a valid thing to say.
Good job,
when
Disney.
do you plan to return to Universal?
I do not currently have any trips to Universal planned. I think that we have scratched that itch within this household, at least for a little bit. We will probably go sometime after the Epic Universe Park has opened.
Yeah.
I do not know when that will be. I do not think it will be within a year of it opening. I think it will be after it's been open for at least a year.
Okay, that's fair. Do you have any other thoughts on Universal before we move on to our next topic?
There was a really funny fountain. Push the trash can. Yes. Imagine him in stationary fountain form.
Oh, like a drinking fountain, or like a
water fountain. Like a beautiful fountain.
Okay. Okay.
It was really fun. We ended up standing around that for quite some time, just because the queue for Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure wrapped around it.
Oh.
So just listening to the fountain talk to passersby was really funny. Oh, things that Universal can do better: be more size inclusive for your rides.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's a big one.
We fortunately did not have issues with that on this trip. Louie and I are both stick-like, so we were fine that way. Do more lockers like you have at Velocicoaster.
Ready to move on to our next theme park?
Sure.
What's our next theme park?
Well, the next one that I went to was Epcot.
Yes, and a lot of people went with you that day, so why don't you tell me about who you were with and what ticket you used?
So many people. Okay, so it was me and Louie. We used our one-day, one-park tickets for Epcot, no park hopper option. mom and dad, you, your husband, and your 2 offspring.
Yeah. It was a big group party of 8.
Yes, and everybody except me and Louie used their annual passes.
Yes. Yes. And we did not use Genie Plus, but my son has the disability pass and we were all able to get on it. Really, the way it works is it's you plus 5 people, like the user plus 5 people for a total of 6. However, Violet doesn't count because she's under 3, so she doesn't have a ticket. So that got us up to 7 people, but we had 8. So what happened was I went into the app to make a selection right when we got there, thinking like, you know, Dad and my husband and my husband Devin were okay taking the baby, trading off, whatever. And I went into the app to make a selection, and I had been at the park like a couple weeks ago with a friend who added me to her disability pass, and it made Felix's disappear. So I had to go get it fixed. And while I was there, he's like, so who all in your party are you adding? And he just added the 8th person on, like as a courtesy, basically. So it was Felix plus 6, and then Violet doesn't count in those numbers. So we got all of us on there. But there weren't really that many rides that all 8 of us did together.
Yes.
Because
and I
of
also
height requirement issues, and the kids don't do Figment.
Yeah.
And Violet didn't do she didn't do Remy, and she didn't do Frozen, and she didn't do Three Caballeros. I think the only one we all went on together was Living with the Land.
Yeah, that tracks with my memory.
Yeah.
I also want to say thank you to that cast member who added us.
Yes, that was really
that.
nice. They didn't have to do that, especially on a busy weekend.
Yeah. But yeah. I think they also saw that most people in your party had annual passes except for the 2 one-day tickets.
So it's like,
clearly...
she's not... It's like a family thing. We're not like trying to, you know, add on some randos here.
Yeah.
We're all related.
Yeah, we are not we are not abusing the system, clearly.
So let's talk about what rides you got to do and what rides you skipped.
Okay. I did not keep notes in order on this one like I did with the others. I just checked off the list. So this is not in order.
I think I have them in order. I think I could tell you.
Okay. Well, I mean, we can start with Cosmic Rewind twice.
Yes.
With the same song both times.
Yes. And then we went over and did Test Track.
Yes.
And then all of us went to do Living with the Land.
Didn't we do Soarin' before we did Living with the Land?
Did we?
I'm pretty sure we did Soaring,
okay.
Then ate lunch, and then did Living with the Land.
Okay, yep. Soarin', lunch at Sunshine Seasons, and then Living with the Land. And then you guys went off to do...
Figment,
and the kids played at the fountain for a while. No. You guys went to do Nemo. I stood in line at guest relations because there was an issue with Dad's pass. And then we took the kids to play at the Figment fountains while you 2 did Figment.
Yes.
And then Violet and Devin went home because Violet was kind of over it at that point.
She kept flinging herself on the ground.
Yes, and trying to fling herself out of the stroller. So, you know, that's how it goes sometimes. Then we did Three Caballeros, and then Frozen, and then Remy.
You skipped Mission Space on that list.
We did Mission Space over there.
Yes, the green side.
Green side. And then we went Remy after Mission Space.
I think we did Mission Space before Three Caballeros? That just makes sense going around.
Okay, Mission Space, Three Caballeros, Frozen, Remy, and then I took Felix home, and the rest of you stayed to do Spaceship Earth.
Yes.
So there was nothing that you skipped.
No rides that we skipped. We didn't do like the France show, the Canada show, the China show. I didn't even go into the China pavilion. I just kind of walked by it.
Yeah, no. But you did all the moving vehicles, basically.
Yes.
So what were your favorite and least favorite rides?
Top 3, I would say Cosmic Rewind, Test Track, and the Three Caballeros. It's so dumb, but I love that ride.
That beats Soarin'?
If it was Soarin' over California, no. But since it's the crappy knockoff Soarin' over the world.
Ouch. Okay, okay. So let's talk about Guardians for a little bit. Try to keep it spoiler free in case people haven't ridden it yet. What were your thoughts on Guardians?
So I went in knowing nothing about it, and I'm really glad that I did.
And save full thoughts because remember we're gonna do an episode, about this ride, comparing it to another. So just keep it kind of general.
Lives up to the hype.
Okay. Do you like it? I know you're a big fan of like Velocicoaster. Do you like Velocicoaster or Guardians better?
It's hard because they're vastly different rides. Velocicoaster is, there are loops. You go upside down. You stay upside down for quite some time in one section. So they are vastly different. Velocicoaster is way more intense than Guardians.
Right.
So it's hard to pick like which one of those two is better.
That's fine. Did you get sick at all? Like any nausea?
No, I was fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, so where did you eat?
What's the name of that place that we ate at?
Sunshine Seasons.
Sunshine Seasons, and I had salmon.
Yeah, which is like a weird theme park. I had fish tacos, which were very good, and I was at Epcot yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, and I was very disappointed to find that those are already gone and replaced with burrito tacos, which they say are for Women's History Month because nothing says let's celebrate women by having burrito tacos.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah, so, and then did you have like ice cream or snacks or anything?
I had a couple of bites and a couple of sips from some of the things that y'all picked up from stands. I don't remember what they were.
Yeah, Festival of the Arts was going on.
There was that sour apple drink, kind of slushy drink. I couldn't tell you what it was called or where Mom got it because I was on a ride.
Yeah, Mom got that. And then from Festival of the Arts, from the Deco Delights booth, I think, there's like a chocolate mousse and some other chocolatey thing that we shared.
And back at the America Pavilion, when you guys were eating burgers, I had some watermelon and Louie had a s'mores brownie.
Yes, that's right. We went to Regal Eagle because the kids were like getting hungry. Felix was getting hungry.
Yeah.
And that's a safe spot for him to eat. Food, good, bad? What do you think?
Salmon was pretty good. I would order that again. The rice was also, with the salmon, was also really good.
Yeah, I've had that before. I've had both the kids version and the adults version. I'm like, that's a pretty good theme park meal.
Yeah. Disney fish, yes.
Yes.
You can eat the fish at Disneyland. It's not like gas station sushi. Like
Right. It's pretty good. Yeah. And then how were the crowds, in your opinion?
About as expected for a holiday weekend.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to tell when you're using DAS for everything, like how long things are. But also, like we did stand by on Mission Space because that doesn't usually have a long wait. And
no, remember the cast member sends us through the lightning lane.
Yes, I'm getting to that. But remember, we were trying to do it earlier, and the wait was like 45 minutes or something silly, even for Mission Space Green. And we were like, let's come back to that later because that's a really long wait for Mission Space Green.
Yes.
So we saw some things like that where I was like, that's odd. But yeah, I mean, we were still able to do everything and take it at an easy pace and not have to rush around.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, like, you still didn't see everything. So you did all the rides, but you didn't, like, go into the pavilions.
Yeah, I think it's hard, if not impossible, to do all of Epcot in a single day.
Yeah. If your goal is rides, like, you have to kind of pick one or the other. Are you going to do rides, or are you going to do, I'm going to experience what the experiences are? Or a mix of both, but you really can't do all of this and all of that in the same day. That's really hard to do. What do you think is one thing Disney is doing right now, at least at Epcot, and what's one thing they can improve on, specifically at Epcot?
I like at Epcot the variety of things offered, not just like permanently, the rides, the attractions, the shows, whatever, but the shows, the like live performances that cycle through. the different booths that cycle through. Like, I think that's really cool. You can go to Epcot 4 times in a year and see 4 different parks.
Yeah, that's a good point. And to your point about it being like the variety of things, I also think in terms of like ages that will be entertained at that park. I think there's people who say Epcot isn't for kids, and I'm like, that's my kid's favorite park. Like, they like to go look at the aquarium. They like to go look at the fountain. Felix likes to race the car on test track. Like there's stuff for them to do. And then I think, okay, if we took our grandmas who are in their 80s, like they would love going around, look at the World Showcase stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's something for everybody to do there. And then you take a park like Hollywood Studios, where my family kind of has a hard time going there because the shows they don't really sit through at this age, and their personalities, it's not really for them, even though there's a Disney Junior show and a Frozen show. Felix is terrified of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, so we can't do that. And that leaves one ride that Violet is tall enough for, and that's Toy Story Mania. So, like, really, we're stuck doing one ride with all 4 of us as a family.
And
so
Violet can't engage with that ride.
No, that's just like a sitting there looking at blurry screens because she won't keep 3D glasses on her face. So, like, yeah, I think Epcot has a lot of strengths in that it offers so many diverse experiences for ages and interests and throughout the year. I'm right there with you on that. What's something you think Epcot can improve upon?
Finish being under construction.
Yes, thank you. It's like, it reminds me of DCA when Buena Vista Street was being constructed, when it was transforming from DCA 1.0 to 2.0, and it, like Cars Land was being constructed, like Pixar Pier is being transformed, Buena Vista Street, like all these changes, and it's like, when is it gonna end?
Yeah.
And I'm feeling that way about Epcot, but it's coupled with like the pandemic thrown in there, so it's taking like way too long, and everyone's like, what in the world? Like, just get it done. Because
a year ago, for me, a year between visits, last year those construction walls were up. I would expect them to be down a year later, and they're not.
Right. Or at least moved. And they really haven't moved. I think the only ones that probably came down were the ones around the guest relations building on the left side of Spaceship Earth. And even then, like, that's not a big chunk there. So, yeah, it's... and the other thing is, I think, tied in with these construction walls, I think Epcot might be going through a bit of an identity crisis right now. Like, yes, it's great that it appeals to so many people, but like, it's kind of lost itself along the way. It's lost the spirit of what it once was in terms of like, this park is going to be a place where you can go learn about science and learn about the future and learn about this. Like, they're just changing so much of the core of Epcot that, I don't know. I think more will be revealed as those construction walls come down. But that's just me. I don't know. When do you plan to return to Epcot? Because you're coming back here in April, and I don't know when you plan to come back after that. But like let's say after April, obviously you're going to come back here again because you have family here. Is Epcot a park that you'd return to, or like what's your top pick park?
Yes, I would return to Epcot, but not yet. So it has been... Okay, so last year I did all 4 parks.
Right.
This year so far, I've done Magic Kingdom and Epcot, and I'm about to do Hollywood Studios. So my next priority on my next trip is probably going to be Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been to that, so...
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I think...
It's been so long since I've been on Everest.
You need Everest in your life. Okay, that's fair.
It's literally been since 2018.
Oh, that's been too long.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it was down for refurbishment last year.
Yes, it was. You missed it.
Yeah.
RIP. Okay, well, let's talk about the next Disney thing you did. You did the Princess 5K and 10K. That
wasn't next in, like, timeline order, though.
Was it? I thought it was.
No, we did something else before.
Okay, well then skip 5K and 10K. We'll come back to it. Yes, we did do something else before the 5K and 10K. What did you do? What did we do?
We got to ride TRON Lightcycle Run.
We did! Yay!
So CJ, how did we we get to do that? Because my mind is still a little blown by that.
So my friend Mark, who is Trader Span on Instagram, he works at Magic Kingdom on the watercraft, and we chat on Instagram. He's a former Californian as well, so we've got things in common there. But he had messaged me saying like, "Hey, I've got a Tron preview on this day and this time. Are you interested?" And I said, "Let me get back to you. I need to check some things." And I had checked my calendar. My son had a dentist appointment, and I felt bad because I already rescheduled this dentist appointment twice. And each time I rescheduled it, it was like a month later. And so I messaged him and I was like, "Felix has a dentist appointment. I don't think I can make it." And he was like, "What's one dentist appointment?" And I had told Mom about this, and she was kind of telling me the same thing. She's like, "CJ, it's okay. You just reschedule the appointment." But I was feeling like major mom guilt over here. And so I was like, "Fine, I'll reschedule it." And then I'm trying to get Violet Care taken care of because, Violet can't go with us.
Yeah.
And so I'm also messaging Mark saying like, "Well, hang on. Is there room for my sister? She's visiting from Texas right now. Like, she would love this. Do we need to have park admission? Like, what's the deal here?" And then, so I get Violet Care taken care of. I worry about calling the dentist in the morning. And then Mom is like, "CJ, you need to tell Alli what's going on. I'm asking you like, hey, can you take some time off work tomorrow?" And then you say what was going on in your head at that point.
Well, so this came up on Monday, I think, because it was the night that we went to dinner. Yeah. What was the name of the restaurant?
Oh, Maya Grill at Coronado Springs. Yeah.
Yeah. And in my head, you're looking at me and you're saying like, can you take some time off on Thursday morning? And I'm like, what harebrained scheme does she want me to be involved in with her on Thursday morning? Like, I'm like, yeah, okay, I can check in. They should be fine with that, but I'll check in with work. And you said something about like, you better thank your lucky stars. And I asked you like, is it Tron? Is it Tron? And in my head, I'm like, if it's not Tron, I'm going to be like actually upset. Because the way that you were implying that, like, you were heavily implying. So I'm like, if you're lying to me right now, I'm actually going to be upset.
And then it was Tron, and
I got the time off of work. My manager actually said, "You cannot miss that," when I asked about it, because, it was kind of last minute. I was like, "Hey team, I'm in Florida. Are you guys okay with me being gone from about like 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock Florida time today? My sister somehow worked some Disney magic and got us into preview the new ride that isn't open yet." And one was like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine with that." And the other one's like, "You cannot miss that. Do it."
Yeah. So we had like a couple days to like build up the excitement of going. Yeah. We met up with Mark, who is very nice, and he told us a lot about working on the watercraft at Magic Kingdom. And I learned a lot, things that you don't really know just from casually riding the ferry boat back and forth. So that was super interesting chatting with him and getting a Magic Kingdom cast member's perspective on things. Mm-hmm. And so the three of us rode together. We went 4 times, I think. 3 times. 3 times?
We did front row. We did somewhere in the middle. We did the front row and we did the back row.
Okay, we did 3 times. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, let's keep this spoiler free, My favorite was sitting in the back because you can see more in the back, and I don't really want to explain what that means, but you can just see more of the story when you're in the back.
And I absolutely agree with you. And not just more of the story, but you can also see a little bit better where you're going. So if you're nervous about going on a roller coaster, if you're nervous about like, I need to see where I'm going or it's going to make me nauseous, back row.
Yeah. So tips for riding. What tips can we give to people who are going on this ride?
So they ask you to put your belongings in a locker, and yes, do that. However, there is a small not pocket, but compartment on the front of the bike, where you can store small things like your sunglasses.
I think at most it would fit like wallet, glasses, phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much room.
I will also, if you're like me and you are wearing sunglasses all the time, I wear sunglasses all the time. I will get headaches if I don't wear sunglasses outside. Don't bring your sunglasses on the ride. There is an outdoor portion to this ride, but you do not need the sunglasses. You will be happier having them off of your face and either in the locker or in that little storage compartment, which you should not attempt to access while the vehicle is in motion.
No, don't. I'd agree with you on that. And if you're a person with long hair, bring a ponytail holder. Tie your hair back. Make sure you take off ears, hats, any of that, because that's going away.
Mm-hmm.
It's going away.
If you have a Magic Band Plus, make sure you're wearing it is powered up and powered on, because there's some fun parts.
Yes. And go to the bathroom before you get in line.
There's a new bathroom up there.
Yeah, there's a new bathroom up there.
It was very nice.
Okay, so what was your favorite part of the whole Tron experience and least favorite part?
Favorite part was the fact that I got to go on it. We got to go on it 3 times. There was, the longest we waited was 10 minutes practically.
Yeah.
A huge thank you to Mark for allowing me to have that experience, because I wouldn't go on it for another year, maybe. Yeah. So the whole ride was just so cool. It was so cool. It
really was. Do you have any least favorite parts or something you would improve or change?
I have 2 things. One is that the non-motorcycle seats, there are not enough of them. So they are for people who don't really want to be leaning forward, and they are for people who can't fit in the motorcycle seats. So we have heard anecdotally that even in just the cast member previews, the queues for these seats have gotten incredibly long. So Disney should have done better to have these accessible seats more available. So that's an issue. And I'm going to change it to 3 things, not 2. Number 2, the grips on the motorcycle bars. Like, I wish I was wearing leather gloves, like gardening gloves, because they need like a rubber
They need like
grippy.
Rubber. Yeah, they need a grippy thing on it, because they're just pure metal,
like
but
ridged
textured.
metal.
Yes.
So, my hands really hurt coming off of that. I really wish there was rubber on those.
Yeah.
Third thing, and this is just kind of general advice to people who are riding the ride. If you're going to be riding on one of the motorbike seats, which I highly recommend you do, you should not wear pants that have a drawstring or a tie unless you really like being firmly poked in the belly by that drawstring knot.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I would not wear a skirt or a dress unless you've got shorts on underneath.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a challenge. Like, that's like riding a horse in a dress.
Yeah. I was going to say, even unless it's like calf length, because you can lock it behind the calf bars, but not even that, because it's this question of how does it straddle the motorcycle? Yeah, don't wear a skirt or dress on that ride.
Yeah, and I'm just picturing what some people wear to Central Florida theme parks in the summer, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be ugly. Like, it's going to be a mess. People in skirts that are like way too short trying to get on this ride. I sincerely hope they decide to wear skirts.
Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite part was the launch. That was really fun.
That was so fun.
And I really like the queue also. I think we've talked about this a lot, how Disney rides set up the story in the queue. And I think they do that without going overboard. Like the Flight of Passage queue, it just kind of, the guy goes, and fly, and okay, and it's like very obvious they're trying to fill time and make your wait seem not as long by having you watch this video. But it's long because he keeps using all these filler words. And it was nice to not have that. Like, you just moved through, but you still got a story and a very cool moment.
Yes. I'm gonna interrupt you and say Disney has done a lot of these in their newer rides. They've done a lot of these wow moments in the queue, and Tron is no exception. There is that big wow moment.
Yes, yes, there is. So least favorite part for me, similar to you about how it's not size inclusive. I mean, that's obviously a problem for a lot of reasons, and thinking about people who, first of all, can't fit, second of all, maybe are scared of the motorbike. Like I'm thinking about when my son is old enough to go on this ride, I don't know if I'm going to be able to trust him to sit on a motorbike by himself. So sitting in a more traditional seat might be better for our family.
Mm-hmm.
And then people with disabilities who maybe can't physically get onto a motorbike that need the real seats, even if they could fit on the motorbike physically, but just can't mobility wise. There's going to be really long lines for that. And I think that's messed up. During cast member previews, I was hearing they were waiting 25, 30 minutes just to get those seats. And, we walked onto the ride a bunch of times, and cast member previews are obviously very limited. So I'm wondering when this is released to general public, how long will the wait for the back seat be? And I'm thinking about people who use disability access or people who have paid Lightning Lane and then they end up needing that seat. Like, how much longer are they going to have to wait?
Yeah.
Like if they're not able to wait in a traditional queue, but you're making them wait 45 minutes to get into the special seat that they have to get into, like that doesn't really seem fair,
And, for the regular queue, this is 30, 45 minutes on top of what you've already waited. You've gotten to the front of the line. And you've told them, I need to sit in the accessible row. And they say, okay, here's another 40-minute wait for you.
Right. So that doesn't really seem right. And, if I'm a paid Lightning Lane guest and I end up needing that row, I'm going to be kind of mad that I'm being forced to wait. I understand it's frustrating for the standby people too, who are having to wait and then having to wait again. But to be like, well, I paid $20, $25 a person to skip the line here and I'm stuck waiting 30 to 40 minutes for the seat. Like, come on. I don't think they'll do like Lightning Lane for the vehicle. I don't think that doesn't seem fair at all. But I can see that being a valid concern that Lightning Lane users have. And I feel bad for the cast members who are going to have to bear the brunt of all this for decisions that they did not have any part in making, but they have to enforce the rules.
Be kind to cast members. General rule. If you can't be kind to a cast member, you need to go home and take a nap.
I almost just wish they had a full train of accessible cars.
Yeah.
I really wish they did. And because that would load, I mean, there's not every train has those accessible cars. And the ones that do, there's only 2 seats.
Yeah.
So it's like that is an extremely low capacity for that ride, for people needing accessible seats. And I just don't think that's right. And I hope they change it moving forward. Okay. When do you plan to go to Magic Kingdom to ride Tron again?
No idea.
No idea. Okay. How much would you pay for an individual Lightning Lane? I know you and I are not fans of paying for rides, but in a world where we were, like, what is the max you would be willing to pay?
Oh, that is so hard. Having been on it before, I would say that I would not pay to go on it again. If it was my first time going on it, however, I would top it $20 a person.
Wow, that's high for you.
I'm not happy about it, but
yeah, I was thinking in my head like $17 to $18 per person is where I'd max out.
We're same ballpark.
Yeah, something about paying $40 for 2 people to ride a theme park ride is a little extreme, but like $35, $36, okay, we're still in the 30s range,
Yeah. And once I've been on it once, I would not pay to go on it again. Like that's it. Yeah. I would either wait until it's, reasonable or like reasonable wait times or just like not pay.
Yeah. Well, my hope is that it stays on. I mean, I'm sure it's going to have virtual queue, which is free, thankfully. So I'm hopeful that it stays on virtual queue for a while.
Yeah.
I think that's a really fair way to get people to go on it without having to wait however many hours in a physical line. And honestly, that kind of stuff works out for Disney too, because if you're not physically waiting in a line, you are more likely to be spending money on things, which Disney likes.
You know what? So, backpedaling a few steps, I wish that Universal still had the virtual queue for Hagrid's, because that's 2 hours of my day.
Oh, yeah. I forgot they used to have that.
Yeah.
That would be nice. Okay, well, I think we should probably wrap it up for this episode because we're getting close to an hour here.
We are, and next time we can talk about the Princess 5K, the Princess 10K, and Magic Kingdom After Hours party that we went to.
And SeaWorld.
I forgot SeaWorld. Yes, SeaWorld. We went to SeaWorld. CJ did not chicken out. She was a trooper.
Yes, I really was.
And we ate delicious food.
We did, but we'll save that for next episode.
Yes. We had a great time at SeaWorld.
We did. And we had a great time on this episode, recapping the first part of your trip. So that about wraps it up for this week's episode. So join us next time, as Alli said, for Princess 5K, 10K SeaWorld, and Disney After Hours at Magic Kingdom. You can find us on Instagram at Park2ParkPod with the number 2. And you can send us your thoughts, questions, if you want to be a guest to talk about a recent trip that you've had or share your opinions about one Disney ride versus another. You can reach out to us on Instagram at Park2ParkPod or email us at park2parkpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, I think you covered everything. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a review if you can. Watch us on YouTube.
And smash that subscribe button on YouTube, people.
Yeah, wherever there's a subscribe button, if you haven't clicked it already, please do. We like subscribers. If we get enough, maybe YouTube will let us put ads on it. But we need, we are so many light years away from that.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for today. We will see you guys next time.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.